Hi.
How's everybody?
Good.
Oh, yay, yay. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, it's going to be so fun. What have you guys been doing all day?
Crafting, playing outside, trying to run a treadmill.
Such a beautiful day to play outside.
Yeah, I ended up wearing shorts.
Oh, you did? Wow. Look at me. I wore short sleeves. That was good.
That works.
Yeah. So what'd you have for lunch?
What did we have for lunch? We had
waffles and eggs.
Yeah, we had waffles and eggs.
That sounds lovely.
With maple. No, with maple syrup.
With maple syrup is even better. Wow.
Being annoying.
Okay. Oh, I got to put this here on gallery view. Now I can see everybody. Oh, isn't it so good? How's the Parker family?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh.
Hey,
Wait a minute.
Your bread.
What are you doing taking over my meeting? No, it's my meeting. No, this is my meeting. I'm doing story time with my kids. No, you are an imposter. You're taking away my story time. My story time with my kids. Uh-huh. Well, what are you going to read? I'm here to see Lizette and Parker and
Mom, somebody's here to see you.
Do you guys know who that is?
Somebody's here to see you.
I am the teacher.
Oh, twin sister.
Imposter. I'm the teacher. She can do story time.
Hey,
I have a little story to tell you.
Look at her story.
Would you like to hear the story of this cat? Yes, we would.
I can't wait to live in here.
This is a cat who wanted to be a good friend. Oh, cat hates swimming, but this cat had a friend that loved swimming. This friend was a duck, and the duck was so lonely. Hey, are you all listening to me? Okay. Hey, I happen to have a story about a cat too. You want to hear my story? You do? Oh. Now, when I was cleaning today, I found this book and I just fell in love with it again. And the story I'm going to tell you, maybe you know Kathy Imposter. No, you're the imposter. I am this cat. One of us is, huh?
Why did you take that screen off?
Well, it is April Fool's Day, and I had to do something for April Fools.
Hi,
Ho, 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 there's the cards. Yes. Okay, so here is my story. It's called The Duel. The Duel? The Duel. And it's actually a poem it's a poem about a gingham dog. This is my dog. And a calico cat. Oh. Okay, so gingham is kind of fabric. Sometimes, mostly, a lot of the times it has flowers on it and stuff like that. And calico is more like this. It's kind of square fabric and little squares in it.
Mom, we can't see the video.
You can't see the video. Can you see me?
There's a video preview right in your face. I can see like your hair and stuff, but we can't see your actual face.
How come?
Mine?
Oh, mine.
Oh, there's somebody else connecting.
Change the way you're, maybe change the way you're,
I like oranges.
No. I
can
can't
anybody
connect.
else see me?
I can't.
I just said no.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to tell you a story about the gingham, let's see, the gingham dog and the calico cat. And actually, they were made out of those fabrics. Okay, are you ready? What do you think it's going to be about if it's called The Duel? Let's find out. The gingham dog and the calico cat, side by side on the table sat. 'Twas 12:30, and what do you think? Nor one nor the other had slept a wink. The old Dutch clock and the Chinese plate appeared to know as sure as fate there was going to be a terrible spat. You guys know what a spat is? It's kind of like a fight. Now, my sister and I never had a spat.
No, we are wrong. Except when you
Right.
want to my clothes.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. The gingham dog,
How long is doing this?
the gingham dog went bow, wow, wow, and the calico cat replied, meow. The air was littered an hour or so with bits of gingham and calico, while the old Dutch clock in the chimney place up with its hands before its face, for it always dreaded a family row. Well, never mind, I'm only telling you what the old Dutch clock declares is true. Chinese plate looked very blue and wailed, oh dear, what shall we do? But the gingham dog and the calico cat wallowed this way and tumbled that, employing every tooth and claw in the awfulest way you ever saw. And oh, how the gingham and the calico flew! Don't fancy I exaggerate. I got my news from the Chinese plate. Next morning, where the two had sat, they found no trace of the dog or cat. And some folks think unto this day that burglars stole the pair away. But the truth about the cat and pup is this: they ate each other up. Now, what do you really think of that? The old Dutch clock told me so, and that is how I come to know. You like that one? That's an old poem. We used to listen to that poem when we were little, remember?
Yes, I do remember that one.
Yep. I think our parents told us that one when we were fighting, and they say, you gonna gobble each other up?
Yes, I think they did.
They must have. Okay. Are you guys ready for our story? That was our poem. But I'm going to read the story.
I'm going to say goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
Karen.
Bye-bye, everyone.
She tuned in for our April Fool's surprise. Isn't that so fun? Everybody needs something different on April Fool's Day.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. We're going to keep going, and I'm going to share my screen. Are you ready? Let's choose this one. Oh, no, let's choose this one. This one right here. And we're going to, oh, look at that. There's our story right there. It's called Rumpelstiltskin. Now, Rumpelstiltskin is a really old story. It was written by the brothers Grimm, and it's been around a long time. but everybody that writes it tends to write kind of a little bit different version. So I'm going to read you two different ones tonight. I think you're going to like it. Okay. How many have heard this story before? Okay, very good. Rumpelstiltskin. There we go. Once there was a poor miller who had a beautiful daughter. On his way to town one day, the miller encountered the king. Wanting to impress him, the miller said, I have a daughter who knows the art of spinning straw into gold. Now the king had a passion for gold, and such an art intrigued him, and so he ordered the miller to send his daughter to the castle straight away. When the girl was brought before him, the king led her to a room that was filled with straw. He gave her tools and a spinning wheel and said, you may spend all night, but if you have not spun this straw into gold by morning, you will have to die. With that, he locked the door, and the girl was left alone inside. There sat the poor miller's daughter without the slightest idea how anyone could spin straw into gold. For the life of her, she did not know what to do. She grew more and more frightened, and then she began to weep. Suddenly, the door sprang open, and a tiny man stepped in. Good evening, Mistress Miller, he said. Why are you sobbing? Oh, the girl cried, I must spin this straw into gold, and I don't know how. With me if I spin it for you, the little man asked. My necklace, the girl answered. The little man took her necklace and sat down at the spinning wheel. He pulled 3 times. Whirr, 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 and the spool was wound full of gold. Wow! He fitted another spool on and whirl, whirl, whirl. 3 pulls, and that one was full too. And so it went until morning, when all the straw was spun and all the spools were full of gold. When the king came in at sunrise, he was amazed and delighted. But all that gold only made him greedier. So he led the miller's daughter to a larger room filled with straw, and he ordered her to spin the straw too before dawn if she valued her life. The girl did not know what to do. She began to weep. Once more, the door opened, and the little man stepped in. What will you give me if I spin this straw into gold for you? He asked. Ring on my finger, answered the girl. And the little man took her ring, and then he set the spinning wheel whirling, and before the night was over, he had spun all the straw into gleaming gold.
No, it's carrots. Oh.
Shortly before sunrise, the king returned. and he saw piles of golden spools glowing in the morning light. The king rejoiced at the sight of so much gold, but still he was not satisfied. He led the miller's daughter to a third, even bigger room that was piled high with straw. "Tonight, you must spin this straw too," he ordered. "And if you succeed, you shall become my wife." I don't think I'd want to be his wife, but because he thought I could not find a richer wife in all the world. When the king had left, the little man appeared again for the third time. "What will you give me if I spin it for you yet once more?" "I have nothing else," the girl replied. "Well, then promise me, when you become queen, your first child belongs to me." Well, how could the miller's daughter gasp? How could she promise such a thing? Then she thought, well, who knows whether that will even happen? And she could think of no other way to save herself. She promised the little man he could have her first child. And once again, he spun all that straw into gold. When the king came in the morning and found everything as he wished, he married the miller's daughter, and she became queen. A year passed, and the queen brought a handsome baby boy into the world. She scarcely thought of the little man, but one day he appeared. "Now give me what you promised," he demanded. The queen pleaded with the little man. "Oh, please, he could take all the royal treasure, but please not my child." She began to cry so piteously that the little man was moved. "I will give you 3 days. If by the end of that time you know my name, you may keep your child." Long into the night, the queen sat, and through the next day, thinking over all the names she had ever heard. And that evening, the little man returned, and she said, "Is it Jack? No. Is it Josiah? No. Is it Levi? No." She recited every name she could think of. "How about Carter? No. Aiden? No. Cooper? Nope." She could not get it. "That is not my name," he said. Well, the second day, the queen had inquiries made all through the town. And when the little man came that evening, she posed the strangest and most unusual ones to him. She tried beastie ribs? No. Legoram? No. How about string bones? No. But he only replied, "That's not my name." He's pretty happy, isn't he? Well, the queen grew truly frightened, and she sent her most faithful servant in the woods to look for the little man. The servant searched through thickets and the clearings deep into the forest, and at last, near the top of a hill, she spied him. He was riding on a cooking spoon. And there was a great fire, and he was singing, I brew my beer, I bake my loaves, and soon the queen's old son I'll claim. Oh, lucky me, for no one knows that Rumpelstiltskin is my name. The servant made her way back as fast as she could manage, and at midday she reached the castle. You can imagine how glad the queen was when she heard that name. Late into the evening, the man arrived. Now, Mrs. Queen, he said, do you know my name, or do I take the child? So the queen asked him, is your name Ian? No. Is your name Nathan? No. Is your name Rumpelstiltskin? Ah! The devil told you that! The devil told you! Shrieked Rumpelstiltskin, and in a fury, he jumped on his cooking spoon and he flew out the window. And he was never heard from again. Okay, now that is the story of Rumpelstiltskin. And when I was looking in my bookshelf, I found this other version I thought was quite fun. It's in this book right here. Now, this book, what they did was they got a bunch of people. Some of them you might know, they're actors and actresses, and they asked them to pretend they were different characters in the story and tell the story from their point of view. So that's what we're going to do next. It's still the story, but it's a little teeny bit different. Okay, here we go. This is the farm girl's father. Now, when you're listening to this, you're going to find out that some of the things are a little different than the story that we just read. We'll see which one you like better. I'm the hayman. This is the guy talking, the guy that's on the screen now. I'm the hayman. I deliver hay to the royal stable. It's not a grand job, of course. Without my hay there would be no horses, which would mean no real hunting and certainly no foreign wars. Surely without me, the entire kingdom would grind to a halt. And I so humbly serve. When I heard the king was searching for the perfect girl to marry, his son, the prince, it was as if he were calling out to me. You see, I have a daughter. In fact, I call her Princess. She's sweet, clever, brilliant, a genius, really. I'm not bragging. I can't help but see Princess for what she is. So when the king visited the stables to admire my hay, or possibly his horses, I couldn't allow him to miss an opportunity to hear about my daughter. I simply began talking about her in a loud voice, enough for him to hear if he chose to. He seemed to be ignoring me. So I found myself saying, she can whistle underwater. She can throw a pig through a donut. Nothing. Finally, I exclaimed, she can spin straw into gold. Apparently, royalty has no sense of humor when it comes to gold. Silly king, and silly for me, because now I had to go home and tell my daughter what I'd done. You said what? She said. I could spin straw into gold, she cried. Yes, I said. Can you, by the way? She glared. I had to ask, especially in light of the king's decree that he would chop off my head if she couldn't do it. Clearly, it hadn't occurred to him that such an action would seriously hinder my ability to deliver hay and thus threaten his kingdom. Ah, wow, you could do anything if you put your mind to it, I urged my daughter as I took her into my arms. I only want you to be happy and royal. Hoping for the best, I watched her ride off toward the castle, and I rubbed my vulnerable neck. Okay, the next person who's talking is the king. And in this story, it's not the king that's going to marry Rapunzel, or the princess, not Rapunzel. That's a different story. It's the king's son. He wants somebody for his son. Okay. What a magnificent young prince that boy has become, I mused as my son thundered upon his marvelous stallion. He will make a fine king. But what I truly desire for him is a lifetime of love with a strong, caring bride at his side. Certainly I'll have plenty to say about who he marries. I'll never force my will on him. We'll know her when we find her, or, well, I mean, he'll know her when he finds her. My thoughts were interrupted by a booming voice of the stable's hayman. I always listen to my subjects. They are the life's blood of the land, and he was bragging that his daughter could spin straw into gold. I do not tolerate lying, and certainly this boast was a lie, but it did capture my attention. How might this girl respond to her father's claims? I ordered him to send her to the palace at once. On first sight, she was attractive, but rather plain. Then, as she spoke, it became clear that she was a rare beauty, sparkling with keen intellect and a royal nature. I liked her. Dare I say she reminded me of me? You have until sunrise to spin this straw into gold, I explained. And if you can't do it, you and your boastful father will suffer dire consequences. I didn't intend to carry out my threats. A father's love isn't a crime. Truly, he had meant my son's happiness. I might have boasted my kingdom to be made of diamonds. Astonishingly before my very eyes, the girl spun something far more precious than gold. She simply bowed her head and said she understood. She could have declared her father a liar to save herself. Instead, she preserved his honor and demonstrating character beyond measure. At that moment, she delivered on her father's promise and won my heart. But I didn't let on yet. I headed out for a well-deserved nap, wondering what she'd say by morning and what my son would think of this extraordinary girl. Oh, what lovely children they could make. Okay, we're going to come back to the spinning wheel. We're going to look at that. Oh my goodness. Isn't that the best picture ever? Goodness, I think you guys should draw your own picture of Rumpelstiltskin. That would be really fun. I'd love to see your pictures. You can draw them and send them to me. Okay, this is Rumpelstiltskin's thoughts. I'm classically grotesque. I'm 4 feet tall. I have mange rot, and my breath smells like manure and feet. It's like I fell from the ugly tree and I hit every branch on the way down. Truly, I'm hideous. But most of all, I'm lonely. The chances of me finding a long-term relationship with anybody are slim. The chance of me having kids? About none. When I was born, the doctor slapped my mother. I'm gross, but I'd so love a tiny person to look at me and say, Dad. Ah. Anyway, in my spare time, ugly trolls have lots of it. I started spinning straw into hay. I wasn't making a cent. Eventually, I developed a magical process, and it was like I'd stumbled into a gold mine. Hyenic, alchemic, counter-processing. In plain English, I could spin straw into gold. When my ear hair picked up vibes that there was a maiden in distress who might become the heir-producing queen if she could spin straw into gold, I knew this was the chance for both of us to get what we wanted. I'd help her in exchange for her firstborn child. She could always have more. I zapped myself into the castle. I don't exactly have a way with the ladies. I chickened out of asking this gorgeous girl for what I really wanted. Twice. I just swapped whatever trinket she had for spending the gold and pretended I didn't want anything else. But when the king moved her to a straw-filled barn for the final test, I knew it was my last shot. I asked for the kid. The girl knew that if she didn't deliver the gold, the king was going to off her dad. High drama. She struck a deal at the last minute, just as the king's horses were approaching. Look, there was a chance the prince and this girl wouldn't even like each other, let alone get married and have babies. We made a fair deal. No guilt. I vanished off to patiently wait for the happy birthday. Me, nearly a dad. Guess who that is? Oh, yes, here she is. That's Princess. Blessed with a loving husband and a beautiful new daughter. My life could not have been more wonderful. Sounds of celebration echoed through the castle as I set up my happily gurgling Olivia in her cradle. I treasured the moment, but suddenly I was overcome with an eerie feeling of being watched. I turned and my heart sank. The little man had returned. I couldn't give him my daughter. I knew that without his help, I might never have met my husband or had Olivia. But even trapped as I felt amidst those piles of hay, I should never have lost sight of how my promise could shape my future. I frantically offered him castles, jewels, fine horses, anything. He waved me off. Then, oddly, he appeared to feel a twinge of guilt. He offered me 3 chances to fairly undo my promise. But as he explained the game, my heart sunk. How could I guess his name? I blurted, Robert, Arthur, Henry. He sang, a grin creeping across his face. Charles! Edward, I tried. No, 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 he shouted. In a puff of smoke, that little man and my first chance to guess his name were gone. The next evening, I gazed longingly at my tiny princess. A sharp breeze cut the air. He was back. I tried to stay calm. Only 2 chances remained. An odd man might have a peculiar name, maybe Balthazar, Cornelius, Zebedee. No. I grew so frustrated and so angry. Spartacus, Lysander, Orlando. He giggled and then vanished again. Just 1 chance left. Heartbroken, I held Olivia close. I found comfort only in the thought of my husband due to return from the hunt that evening. Perhaps our love could somehow empower the little man's magic and ensure our baby would remain with us forever. As if he heard my thoughts at that instant, I heard my husband's whistling song drawing near. He opened the door, and I turned to face him. And for the first time in days, my tears paused. There he is, the handsome prince. Oh boy. Let's see what he says. Around my 20th birthday, my father began his campaign to help choose a wife for me. Every well-heeled noblewoman was dragged to our castle, but the last thing I wanted was a boring regal marriage to some society cream puff. If I married, I wanted a girl with whom I could be myself, and I'd always imagined I'd find her myself. But then, surprisingly, Father explained he'd met a simple farm girl who I might find interesting. We arranged a casual meeting in the gardens. For me, it was love at first sight. Oh, she was gorgeous, although her magic ran deeper. In her eyes, I saw the edge of the universe. And when she started joking about the royal guards, I knew I had found my soulmate. I wanted to slay a dragon for her right then and there. Just when I thought life couldn't get any happier, little Olivia arrived in our lives. I was at peace inside and out. Sword fighting could never come close to the thrill of dancing with my baby in my arms. I went off to hunt for the feast in celebration of Olivia's birth, and I missed her and her mother terribly while I was gone. I ran to the nursery the moment our party returned to the castle. I couldn't wait to hold my daughter and to share the strange story with my wife. Deep in the woods, I'd seen an odd-looking little man dancing in circles. I'm sure he was some kind of lunatic. He was chanting a bizarre sort of nursery rhyme that went something like this. Oh, I am Rumpelstiltskin. The cat could have never gotten out if she hadn't let him in. Need gold or scrap or tin, I'll spin. A child is the prize I win. Oddly, my wife erupted into laughter and tears at my story. Did she find it funny? Perhaps I was just emotional because she missed me, or she was. It didn't matter. I held her close, glad to be home. And let's see who our last one is. Oh, okay. This is Olivia. As a newborn baby, I can only see things close up. I can just about focus on the mobile of golden crowns dangling above me while I hug my soft pink blankie and drift in and out of sleep. I notice stuff like that. My feet are smaller than my mother's thumbs. But my favorite thing is to stare at my mother's beautiful face. When she holds me, her eyes sparkle. Her hair glistens like gold, and her kisses make me feel safe and warm. But when Mom cuddled me this evening, something was wrong. A tear ran down her rosy cheek. What did I do to make her happiness go away? Just then, my father bounded into the room. He always makes the corners of Mom's mouth go up. He'd get her happiness back. He gathered us up in his strong arms and told us about his busy day. Mother hardly seemed to be listening until he mentioned seeing a strange man named Rumpelstiltskin. With that word, everything changed. She laughed and cried happy tears and kissed Father all over his face. I don't know why the word made her so joyful, but I was glad it did. I dozed off to another peaceful sleep. As Mother rocked me the next day, we had a visitor, a little man, not much bigger than me. but old and odd. He'd visited a few times before. Mother was never herself when he was around. What's my name? Last 3 guesses, he snapped, darting around with fancy footsteps. Harvey, Mother said calmly. Nope, he laughed, not Harvey. Stan then, she tried. He giggled. I don't understand what was going on, but it didn't seem good to me. Finally, Rumpelstiltskin, she sang. That word! It made people act so weird. At the sound of it, the little man got so angry, he twisted up and drilled himself into the floor. We never saw that little man again. No one ever spoke of him. And of course, Mother and Father and I lived happily ever after together. Okay, let's see here. What did you think? Did you notice any differences? Oh, hi, Lindsay's. Oh, look at that. How fun. Did you notice any differences in the stories?
Yeah.
Yes, I like
Well-
the first one better because the second one was so different than it that it kind of made me mad. Well,
It
but I
was-
like the ending of the second one where he drilled into the floor.
Yeah. That is so interesting. And what about the babies? Did you notice anything about the babies?
The big baby.
One was a girl and one was a boy. That's interesting.
The baby was woke up very big. Yeah, he woke up very big. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's so fun. Well, this one's called Once Upon a Fairy Tale, and you liked this one better. And then I also have this one too. I didn't think the pictures of this one were very good, so I didn't do this one. But at the end of this one, he stamps the floor and falls into a hole in the floor. So that one's a little bit different at the end too.
I did with Yoshi because I had it and he stamped his leg and then he pulled his other leg and he split in 2.
He split in 2? Oh my goodness. That is so funny. Wow. Well, we have just a couple minutes left. Actually, I probably only have 1 or 2. So I wanted to do one more thing with you. You know, not all kids get to hear nursery rhymes. And so I'm doing a little test to see if you guys do know nursery rhymes. Oh, look at our little baby. Our Lindsay baby. How cute is that? How fun that she gets to be with us. Okay, here we go. This one is called Jack and Jill. Do you guys know that one? Okay. You can say it with me if you know it.
No.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill
Tumbling after.
came tumbling after. Woo! Oh, I feel so good. You guys know that one. Okay, here's another one. This one is called Hickory Dickory Dock. Okay, you know that one? Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay, here we go. Hickory Dickory Dock. The mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1. The mouse ran down. Hickory Dickory. That's it. Oh, good job. Good job. Okay, this one has 5. 1, 2, 3. This one has 6 lines. It's Hey Diddle Diddle. Do you guys know that one?
Diddle diddle.
Oh, I'm so excited that you know these. Okay, here we go. Ready? Hey diddle diddle, the cat's in the fiddle. Cow over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such a sport, and the ditch ran away with the spoon. That's right.
Bro, that's like
Okay. Here's our very last one, and I don't want you to cry because it's such a sad one.
Little Bo Peep has
Little
lost
Bo
her
Peep. Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep.
Mama, Miss Kathy wants to stop.
Leave them
Miss
alone.
Kathy wants stuff like this.
They'll come home. Wagging their tails behind them. That's right. Oh, I'm so happy that you guys know these. Okay, that's only 4. Next time I'll share some more because look at all these that I have. Isn't that fun? I don't even remember where I got these. Probably off the free table. All right. Well, that's it, my little children. It's so good to see you all. You have a good night, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, you bet. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Mommy? Goodbye. Not now.